It's John Cola with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, coming at you from my beautiful garden here in March. As you guys can see, this is my lettuce bed behind me. I have nearly 100 heads of lettuce, more lettuce than I could eat. Good thing I got a Stay Fresh freeze dryer to start freeze drying it all. Anyways, in this episode, I'm going to show you guys some important information that you guys may have not heard before. You know, I look at a lot of published scientific studies, and I want to show you guys 3 of them today. I have them right here. This will make a huge difference in your life, whether you eat raw vegan, or just somebody that eats salads, or somebody that really wants to maximize the nutrition of the foods you're eating. There's small little hacks you could do that most people don't know about that are very simple and easy that I want to show you guys in this episode. So let's get right to it. All right, so this first study I'm going to go over is called Carotenoid Absorption from Salad and Salsa by Humans is enhanced by the addition of avocado or avocado oil. All right, let's go ahead and read the part of the abstract. Dietary lipids are hypothesized to be an important factor for carotenoid bioavailability. However, most carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables are low in lipids. The objective of this study was to assess whether the addition of avocado fruit as a lipid source enhances carotenoid absorption in humans. And then basically we'll jump down to the conclusion. In conclusion, adding avocado fruit can significantly enhance carotenoid absorption from salad and salsa, which is attributed primarily to the lipids present in the avocado. All right. So what are they saying? They saying instead of just eat a salad, right, with no overt fats, you guys actually want to add some overt fats to your salad, whether that's in the form of some avocado, which is a higher fat fruit, of course, or some blended up nuts and or seeds, or even use oil, which I don't necessarily recommend, all right? So let's find out how much more beneficial it is to add an avocado to your salad. So let's go ahead and throw up this graph for you guys on the screen so you guys can check it out. This graph is based on study data, actual study data, all right? So this is carotenoid absorption from salad with various fat sources. So you can see 0% control. They had the salad only, no overt fats, no avocado added. Then you can see the middle graphs talking about beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, and lutein, by adding just 31% of calories from avocado. So for example, you eat a 100-calorie salad and you add 31 calories of avocado. You know, if you're eating a nice big salad, guys, just add a half avocado or a full avocado if you want to go crazy, or even some blended up nuts with you know, some fruit like orange juice and some macadamia nuts, for example, right? And your alpha-carotene, beta-carotene, and lutein absorption will go up dramatically. So for example, for the beta-carotene, it probably went up like a factor of maybe 7-fold. The alpha-carotene was insane. It went up to like 32 from like, I don't know, maybe 3, so like a 10-fold increase. And then of course the lutein probably went from about 6 to about 26. So that's at least a 4 times increase, guys. And then if you add 50% of calories from avocado oil, which I don't recommend you guys do, I would say just add more avocado. And I think what they really found out was actually the more fat you add to your salad, the higher the absorption goes up. So, you know, would you add another 20% of your calories from avocado or some kind of oil, which I wouldn't recommend once again, to basically get a small incremental increase in beta-carotene, you know, a fairly good increase in alpha-carotene, and a better increase of lutein, you know. So, you know, personally, I think that that's probably not the best thing to do unless you're, of course, on a keto diet and you're doing just high fat, because we want to not have too much fat, because once again, fat calories are a lot more calorically dense than salad calories, for example, you know. So in the case where they do 50% of calories from avocado oil, literally half the calories from that salad was coming from the oil, not the salad itself. So I want you guys to basically hopefully get more calories from your salad than from just the added fat you're putting in. But even if you just put 30% fat, right, you're going to get a significant increase in the absorption of the beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, and lutein, right? So this is very important information that most of you guys may not be aware about. All right, luckily in this study, they also tested, besides just salad, they also tested salsa. And so they only tested 46% calories from avocado added to the salsa. Of course, the salsa has no overt fats in it. And we're going to throw up the lycopene absorption, because lycopene is a very important nutrient. I know some people say you got to cook lycopene to get it more bioavailable. And some of those studies, they actually use cooked lycopene or tomatoes plus oil, which then gives a higher uptake. But this is just salsa only, had about 20, and the 46% of calories from avocado got you up to about 70. So once again, if you guys eat the salsa, add a little bit of avocado in there. The more fat you add, the higher your lycopene absorption based on this study. And then on the back of this, on the back page, we're going to throw up this graph here. It's alpha-carotene absorption from salsa with avocado. Salsa only was approximately 7.5, and then when you added 46% calories from avocado, your alpha-carotene absorption went up to over 17.5. So that's over 2 times more, right? So guys, just adding some fat to your salad, salsas, or other, foods can make them more nutritious, because you're going to absorb more of these plant phytochemicals, right, or vitamins that are important for us, right? It's some of these micronutrients, in my opinion, are some of the most important and health-building properties of our food. And if you're just eating no overt fats, which I don't necessarily recommend, you're limiting yourself on how much nutrition you could uptake, okay? So yeah, that is the first study, all based around avocado. So the summary of this study, guys, is when you eat a salad or salsa or other vegetable-based meal, have a little bit of avocado or some nuts and seeds with it, so you will increase your absorption of some of the fat-soluble vitamins. All right, guys, so we're in another area of my garden. This is my spinach bed. Behind it, we got the Swiss chard bed. These are high in oxalates, so I generally only eat those raw. I will sometimes blend them. I will cook them also, which can reduce the oxalates. It's rare that I juice any large quantities of spinach or Swiss chard. Personally, I may juice them in very small amounts, just kind of to add in with something else, but not in any large quantities. Nonetheless, this next study is specifically on spinach, right? But while they are testing spinach, this also can give us hints about other leafy greens as well. So don't just think, oh, when I eat spinach, I got to do this. No, when you eat any food, you may get similar results to this study. So anyways, this study is called Influence of Simulated Food and Oral Processing on Carotenoid in Chlorophyll in Vitro Bioaccessibility among 6 spinach genotypes. So it says in the abstract, increasing the density of micronutrients and phytochemicals in vegetable foods through plant breeding and processing is of value for consumers. So that's what I'm all about, man. How could I improve my nutrition in my not only food by growing my own food, using specific cultivars of food, like my lettuce bed has mostly purple or red colored lettuces, which are a lot more nutritious than the green ones. And of course, I am growing in organic soil with trace minerals, micronutrients, as well as a whole host of soil biology, bacteria, that literally allow my plants to create a more nutritious plant. So, I'm creating more nutritious plants, and this study specifically talks about the processing. How is John Kohler going to process his homegrown greens to get the most benefit in me? And that's what I want to show you guys. So, these are the kind of studies I look up and I love. This study was released in 2021. Anyways, it says carotenoid and chlorophyll bioavailability varied significantly within the genotype and processing treatment, with processing having more profound influence on the bioaccessibility. Decreasing micellation of phytochemicals from juiced to fresh to blanched and sterilized oral mastication had a significant influence on the carotenoid bioaccessibility content of sterilized spinach as compared to fresh spinach, most likely due to the additive effect of thermal processing and mastication on facilitating digestive breakdown of the spinach matrix. All right. Anyways, to sum up this study, it says food processing remains a dominant factor in modulating the bioavailability of these phytochemicals. All right. So basically, what are they saying? They're saying that, you know, they did 6 different spinach genotypes, or 6 different cultivars, which you go to the store and you buy spinach. They never list the cultivar. You know, I'm growing the Green Beret cultivar. I've grown other cultivars in the past. Each one has a little bit different, you know, nutrients in there. But they're basically saying that the specific genotype or cultivar of spinach didn't really matter that much. What really mattered was how the spinach was processed in their simulation. So once again, we're going to go ahead and use data. So this is, we'll throw it up on the screen, table 1 from their study. You can see they tested all the different cultivars with lutein, beta-carotene, total chlorophyll, A, B, total chlorophylls, and total carotenoids through fresh, blanched, sterilized, juiced. All right. They got all the numbers here. Basically, to sum this up, I want to make it easy for you guys. I have a graph here. We're going to throw up on the screen so you guys can see it. So for the lutein, right, the bioaccessible content when raw, because like raw vegans would say raw is always best, it was like over 1. And of course, when you boil it, which in the study, they referenced it as blanched. So I just said boiled instead, because that's something a normal person would understand. It went down, you know. And then when they did canning, or they would call, they call it in the study sterilize, and basically you got to sterilize food to can it so it doesn't go bad and grow bacteria in the can. So I called it canned for you guys. And then you guys could see it went down even more. But when you juice the spinach, or I would surmise other leafy greens, because you're myceliating, or literally breaking up the cell walls, you're releasing the lutein, and then the bioaccessible content went up, you know, over 1.75 compared to maybe 1.10 or something like that. So it went up a good number by just juicing it, right? So I know a lot of you guys think juicers are unnecessary. Well, you know, hey, if you just eat the spinach raw, you're going to get a certain amount of bioavailability of the lutein, which, as you just learned, could also be increased by adding some avocado. But when you juice it, it also goes up. So, hey, what if you juice it and then add avocado to that, all right? Anyways, let's look at total chlorophyll. Total chlorophyll raw was maybe 3.7. Boiled was a little bit above that. So, hey, boiling has a benefit. Maybe the total chlorophyll will go up. Have you ever noticed when you like steam vegetables like broccoli, it gets really bright green? That's because the steaming basically is blowing open the cell walls that have the locked in chlorophyll, and then it's released and it makes it more bright green. This is how you know if you go to a salad bar and you're getting like broccoli and it's like really bright green, more than normal, you know they've like blanched it or something weird first before they put it on the salad bar. Nonetheless, and then canned, of course, goes down, but then juiced chlorophyll content once again goes from maybe 3.5 or 6 to over 5, almost 6, guys. So once again, by breaking up the cell walls, releasing more through juicing, you know, it has more total chlorophyll available for digestion for you. We'll look at, once again, beta-carotene. Beta-carotene raw was maybe like 0.45. Boiled was maybe 0.29. I'm just kind of guessing based on the graphs. Can was 0.2, but if we look at juiced, once again, man, it goes up to 0.85, I'm going to say. So that's like almost double the amount of beta-carotene bioaccessible through juicing, right? They have proven this in studies with carotenoids in carrots, and juicing carrots is a lot more effective at getting them into you and measuring them in your bloodstream than eating the carrots raw. And I know a lot of you guys don't juice. That's why I'm not going to say we want to go on a juice fast or nothing like that. I'm going to say juicing is a healthy part of a otherwise balanced diet because it allows your body to absorb more nutrition from some of the foods, especially if you guys are buying organic, if you go out of your way to grow your own food and you want to get the most nutrition out of it, right? You want to masticate it as much best as possible, and juicing can do just that. And then, of course, looking at total carotenoids, once again, raw, maybe 1.9, boiled down to 1, canned was down to 0.7, but juice once again was like 2.7. So once again, total carotenoid increased bioavailability through juicing. That's why juicing can be beneficial. That's according to table 1. Let's go even deeper, guys. So now table number 2 talks about mineral content of the raw and different ways they process the spinach. You know, some minerals are bound to cellular structures. Some minerals are more water soluble. Some minerals are more absorbable. There's different pHs. There's a lot of reasons why minerals act differently. And I'm not the scientist to know all the different ones, but what I am here to tell you guys is that based on the processing method you use, some minerals may be more or less bioavailable to you, right? So if you're like, oh, you need calcium, but then you're only ever eating raw, right? You're not gonna get the maximum amount of calcium absorption through eating raw, boiled, or even juiced. Actually, juiced is less than raw in this case, right? The canned spinach, which I would not recommend, has the most calcium, probably because it's been like, you know, processed the most at the highest heat, which then breaks open more cell walls, I can only surmise. But once again, on the magnesium, a lot of people have magnesium deficiencies these days. Raw is definitely good, right? For sure. Boiled and canned suck, and juice was even more than raw, right? Once again, manganese, raw was 0.8, boiled was 0.4, canned was even maybe 0.3, but juice was 0.10. So, you know, juicing was even a benefit over the raw for some of these minerals. And then, of course, iron, another very important mineral for us to have. Raw was maybe 0.9, boiled was 0.4, canned was 0.7, and juiced was actually a little bit below raw. You know, so here's the thing, guys. Is juiced always better? Am I trying to sell you guys a juicer? No. What I'm here to tell you guys is that based on how you process the food, juiced, raw, you know, steamed, boiled, you know, in a can, you're gonna get different absorptions. So for me personally, what I try to do these days is I try to eat the same food, the same spinach, I eat it raw. I eat it steamed. I will also juice it, right? I'll also blend it up because once again, every different way, you know, one way may favor spinach absorption, one way may favor magnesium absorption. You know, you don't have to look up all the studies to know, oh, I need calcium, so I'm gonna eat a can or whatever. I just wanna I want to do all the different methods so that, you know, across all the different methods, I'm going to get the best of both worlds, of all the different worlds, actually. All right, so next up, this is the most fun study because they kind of get blending into the mix. And so this is actually the table number 3. We'll throw it up on the screen. And it's genotype and processing interaction effects on total bioaccessibility of carotenoids and chlorophyll content. So in this case, they basically blended it. They will call it homogenized, and they masticated it or simulated chewing by us. So you guys could see on the top of the picture, you could see what homogenized in a blender looked like, right? All the cell walls were broken open. There's no big fragments left. And when they basically masticated or did the simulated chewing, right, it did not break open all the cell walls. People swallowed the food, and there were still big pieces of stuff that were swallowed, which once again, all the nutrients are still locked in because they were not macerated up and broken down. So literally, you're gonna see big piece of salad come out the other side. So let's find out what the study says on how effective this is for nutrients. So we're gonna pop up this graph for you guys on your screen, and it's average bioaccessible carotenoid content across spinach cultivars. So I basically took the average of all the cultivars, and this is basically, they compared raw blended versus raw chewed versus boiled blended versus boiled chewed versus can blended, can chewed, and juiced. So this will give you the total scope of it, right? So check it out. Raw blended was pretty good at like maybe 5.8, but then raw chewed, right, sucked. It was like, basically, we'll call it 1, right? That sucks, guys. Like, you're eating just a salad, a spinach, and you're chewing it. You're thinking, I'm getting a lot of different carotenoids by chewing it, right? And it's like 5.5 times less than if you just basically blended it, and hopefully you're vacuum blending, as you guys will learn in a minute. And if you boiled it and blended it, you'd still get more than just eating it raw. So is raw always best, like some people would lead you to believe? Well, not in the case of the bioaccessibility of carotenoids in spinach. Of course, carotenoids can be increased, as we learned in the previous study, by adding avocado or adding some fat. So, of course, blend your spinach with some avocado or some nuts to make a blended salad and get higher absorption of carotenoids. Boiled chewed, that sucked even worse. That was a worse performer. So don't boil your food and then chew it. And if you are going to chew it, at least chew it 100 times to get it into a mush, and then you're going to get better uptake, all right? Canned blended, once again, I don't recommend canned foods, generally, especially greens. But, I mean, that was better than raw chewed and better than boiled chewed, but not better than boiled blended or raw blended. And, of course, canned chewed was down even more. So what do you guys see? And you're seeing the inefficientness of chewing because, once again, we're not breaking open all the cell walls to a really fine state to expose them so that these nutrients can get better absorbed. Of course, if you eat it with some fat, the absorption is going to go up. But then if we go to juicing, right, this is where juicing kicks ass because, once again, juicing blows open cell walls to make these nutrients way more bioaccessible. From raw blended, right, it's maybe like people think blended's better than juicing. It was maybe 5.8, and then juiced went up all the way over to like 8.2, I would say. So a bit more for juicing than blending, but of course, both were still better than chewing it up raw and masticating it, guys. So basically, what this study tells me is that you want to not just eat salads, especially if you're not a good chewer. If you do eat salads, my recommendation is to chew every mouthful into a mush, chew it at least 30, 40 times. I mean, you may get bored. You're going to build up good jaw muscles and get good muscular definition in your face because most Americans chew twice and it goes right through them and they're really not going to get any absorption, especially because they're eating iceberg lettuce salads, guys. So, I'm here to show you guys just the data so that you guys could make an appropriate decision on how you want to live your life. Once again, I'm going to tell you guys, juice, vacuum blend, as you'll learn in a second, not just blend, and then eat things raw, and then even steam things, and then steam it and then blend it, right? Vacuum blend it to get much better absorption of some nutrients in your food, okay? Now I want to hit up the last study, which is a very important study because a lot of you guys have no idea what difference removing oxygen before blending can make. All right, guys, so I want to show you guys this last study right here, and this study is called Effects of Extraction Methods on Antioxidant Properties of Carrot, Apple, and Blueberry Juices. We're going to read part of the abstract. This study was performed to compare vitamin A, E, beta-carotene, polyphenol content, and DPPH radical scavenging activity of carrot, apple, and blueberry juices as affected by extraction method using a slow juicer, no vacuum blending, and vacuum blending, all right? So, a lot of you guys may not have heard of vacuum blending before. It's a new concept for many. They did non-vacuum blending, which I would also call traditional blending. And traditional blending happens in a blender such as a Vitamix. I know a lot of you guys own Vitamix, maybe you guys own BlendTech. These are very powerful blenders, right? And if you've ever noticed, when you fill up the blender and you fill it up to this much, and then you turn it on because you put water and then you put your bananas and other things in there, you turn it on, it creates a funnel vortex in the middle. It looks like a tornado. There was actually recent tornado hits in the United States that actually, messed up some people, unfortunately. But nonetheless, as the vortex is going in there, it's basically sucking in air and basically pushing air into your food as it explodes the food and breaks open the cell walls. So as you guys learned in the previous study, breaking open cell walls is good because it makes things like chlorophyll, lutein, carotenoids more bioavailable and absorbable by us, right? Especially if you don't chew good. But the challenge with it at the same time that the other studies did not comment on because maybe they're not aware of it because this is new technology, is that this can be prevented because the oxidation and adding all the oxygen in there oxidizes oxygen-sensitive nutrients and diminishes them significantly. So how vacuum blending works is there's a kit for your Vitamix, link down below to my video on how you guys could buy this kit and how the kit works. It's basically this. You basically buy a new carafe with a new lid that then you just basically take off your Vitamix and put this on your Vitamix. And now you have instantly turned your Vitamix into a vacuum blender. How a vacuum blender works, unlike traditional blending that just has a hole in the top and a little cap, what happens on the vacuum blender is that this top seals on tight. We'll turn on this top it'll come on. Now we're gonna press the go button. Can you guys hear that? Dual pumps are coming on, and what's happening is the excess oxygen is being sucked out of the container, right? Maybe 60-70% oxygen can be sucked out of the container using this very lid. So now you're blending in an oxygen deprived environment. Instead of having 100% oxygen, now mixing in that oxygen into your food, there's maybe only 30 to 40% oxygen left in the container after you put on the vacuum pump to basically suck out the oxygen. In addition, this vacuum system continues to pull oxygen out as you're blending. So, so you're blending a tomato, the tomato is blended up, oxygen is released, it is instantly pulled out to keep the level of the oxygen removal the same across your whole blending process. For that reason, you're not gonna wanna fill up this container too much, all right? So any case, what difference does blending without the extra oxygen added in equate to? So for that, let's pull up the study data. We're gonna pop up this graph on the chart for you guys. And as you guys can see, the polyphenol content in apple juice, basically they just took apples and blended it up, whether it's in a standard Vitamix or whether it's in a vacuum blender, right? Polyphenol content from traditional blending, Vitamix style, was maybe like 280, but then when they vacuum blended it, it was all up over 525. So that's maybe almost a 50% increase in polyphenols, which is something they measured probably in some of the other studies. Polyphenols are very important for us and can have a lot of health benefits, guys. All right, so then vitamin A content in apple juice went from maybe like 8.6 to maybe like 16.1. So that's basically like, once again, double the amount of vitamin A content in your blended apple. This can also apply to other foods, although they only tested apples, blueberries, and carrots. Of course, not all nutrients will be affected the same way, and not everything's gonna have 50% more, but to let you guys know that some nutrients can be 50% more, maybe some might be even a bit more than that. And of course, some nutrients, especially minerals, may not change the absorption at all due to the oxygen removal. Although that I would like to see, because I know maybe some minerals are more oxygen sensitive than others, and maybe removing the oxygen helps them get more unbound. I have no idea. Nonetheless, well, let's look at the antioxidant potential, DPPH, in apple juice. So this is basically like how much free radicals can this apple quelch inside us. Free radicals can prematurely age you, for example. And this went from maybe like 52 up to like 85. So this is maybe I don't know, 30 or 40% increase, which is definitely good. It's not as good as the other ones, but nonetheless, it shows that vacuum blending makes a difference, all right? And then, something very important to me are blueberries. Apples are relatively cheap. These are like ambrosia apples I got at Trader Joe's recently. I think they're like maybe $1.25 a pound. Big 5-pound bag for like $6. But blueberries, I mean, a little carton of blueberries like this, guys, maybe costs like, I don't know what, $8.99 near you. They're like super expensive. Look at these nice blueberries here. Anyways, very important to not oxidize your blueberries based on this study here. Polyphenol content in blueberry juice and polyphenols such as anthocyanins are very important for our health. Traditional blending, you might have, I don't know, what is it, like 1190 or something. But then when you vacuum blended, you're up over 1750, right? So once again, this is showing that just simply by using a different processing technique, even using your same blender motor, just by removing the oxygen before you blend, can make a significant difference in the nutrients that are available for you, right? And this is just changing out your blender top. Or you could buy a whole new vacuum blender if you guys want to get all complicated, if you don't already have a Vitamix or a Blendtec. If you have a Blendtec, you could actually just buy this lid for your Blendtec carafe, which will turn it into a vacuum blender. This is cutting edge information, guys, that I've been teaching about vacuum blending since 2017. Some of you guys have adopted it, some of you guys haven't adopted it. But here's what I do. Like, I see the technology, I see the different processing equipments because I go to the trade shows for processing equipment, like the kitchen and houseware show. I find the best, equipment, use it myself, look up studies to verify its efficacy, also experience it myself, look up studies to see how I could process my food the best ways. How many of you guys know other raw vegans that are this crazy? So hey, if you think John Kohler's crazy, give this video a thumbs up, because I'm freaking crazy, guys. I admit it. I look up studies. I grow my food so I can have higher quality food. I process in the best ways possible. And I'm just here to share with you guys my journey. This is very important to me. For me, it was life or not life. And, I take my health seriously. Hopefully you guys take your health seriously. And if you learned anything from this episode, I guess to sum it up, this episode, I will say this. I want you guys to eat more than just a salad with greens and vegetables. Add some fat. Super simple, super easy. Next thing I want you to do, aside from just eating salads and eating salads raw and fruits raw, which many people think could be awesome, right? And that's awesome to an extent. Hey, go off the deep end, guys. Vacuum blend your salad up so that it's masticated more and you get greater uptake of certain nutrients, right? I'm not even telling you guys you have to heat process foods, because a lot of nutrition can go down, carotenoids can go up. But if you're going to heat process things, hey, sometimes heat process it and then blend it up and then eat it as a soup. Of course, vacuum blend it up so you maintain more of those nutrients and you're not oxidizing them because you are processing, your food in the best ways possible. If you guys chew your food up, that's great. You're going to get lower absorption of some of these nutrients, but just make sure you chew it very well. And of course, let's not forget about juicing. I know there's a lot of, vegan doctors out there that'll talk crap about juicing and how juicing is no longer a whole food. And I would argue that heat processing your food is no longer a whole food either, because you are losing things when you heat process. It's just not the fiber, right? So anyways, link down below my video, cooking versus juicing, which one is a whole food and which one isn't. And while juicing, we are removing some of the fiber. You also get an amazing amount of benefits by juicing. As proven by published studies, a lot of nutrients can be better absorbed. And of course, smarter plant-based doctors, know this and actually promote juicing, like Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Finally, guys, don't forget about vacuum blending. It's a simple upgrade you guys could make to your existing Vitamix or Blend Tech. So now you can significantly increase certain nutrients 50%, up to 50%, right? Some cases it might be 30, some cases it might be 20, some cases it might be 10, some cases it might be, that nutrient is not affected through vacuum or non-vacuum blending. But what is affected is also how much air you're swallowing, because when you vacuum blend, you're removing the oxygen. You're not like creating more food out of thin air because you're not oxidizing the heck out of it and adding dissolved oxygen to your smoothie, which may give you belching, gas, and bloating. In addition, you're also going to have mixtures that are more homogeneous, that are better blended up. They also retain a better color, and they also store a lot longer, guys. If you store it under vacuum, link down below to how I vacuum store things and remove up to 80% of the oxygen. When I vacuum store my foods, whether it's smoothies or blended salad dressings, or blended salads sometimes, or smoothies that I just can't drink enough of, or my juices so they can store for up to a week, even my raw salads that I do salad prep, right? Link down below to that, right? Removing oxygen is one of the big things, and one of the final things I want to share with you guys. And, after you watch this whole video, I don't expect you guys to do all these things, but just pick one that's the easiest for you to do. I mean, even if you don't change what you eat, simply changing out your blender top, that could be an improvement. Simply blending your salad up sometimes and still make sure you chew it. Don't just chug it down, right? Could be a big improvement, right? And I want to know, how will you improve your diet based on John Kohler's crazy video, where I'm sharing with you guys things that you're literally not going to hear on other raw food channels, because I care about you. I want you guys to have the best information, because you guys aren't looking up the studies like me. And if you guys want to review these studies that I've talked about in this episode, I'll put the links down below so you guys could read them, the full text yourself, so you guys could learn more about them. But otherwise, I would just encourage you guys to eat your raw foods in many different forms: juice, vacuum blended, chewed up raw. Get into heat processing once again so you could spread out and have more money on the table if you're playing roulette, so you're more likely to win, because now you're playing the nutrient game. And the more different ways you process nutrients in the best ways possible, get them into you, the more absorption, greater uptake, and in my opinion, because of this, you'll have greater health because of it. All right, so that's pretty much all I got for tonight. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, more importantly, share this with other raw vegans that have no clue, that are just still eating salads because, hey, raw is the best. You don't need no equipment. If we lived in the jungle, we wouldn't have no equipment. You know, they wouldn't have published studies either to know that processing food in different methods will affect the food and can affect the food, and how we could even do it better in this day and age, because we have actually modern technology that you guys are watching this YouTube video on right now as well. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new upcoming episodes I've coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know what new knowledge bombs I'll be sharing with you guys, or what new off-the-wall hacks I'll be going off on, or rants I'll be sharing as well, and I wouldn't want you guys to miss any single episode. Make sure you click the little bell so you're notified as my new videos come out, and finally be sure to check out past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 800 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about how to eat raw fruits and vegetables and other plant foods minimally processed in the best ways possible to enhance your health. Links down below some of my favorite videos I made on vacuum blending, as well as increasing nutrition in some of your foods, and how I do that specifically with even heat processing my food as based on the published studies. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. Until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.